He's here to introduce his favorite games. From 100 to 1, he'll explain every one. Action, trivia, fantasy, and more. Stay tuned to see what's in store, so you can play the game, play the game, play the game.
Hey folks, I'm your host Tom Basso, but the star of today's show is Jason Levine.
Right here.
Going through his top 100 games of all time. This is the third video. Today we will finish the bottom 1/4 of that list and go into the next 25%. I want to ask Jason, how do you have time to play so many games, sir?
That's a good question. I basically game, I don't know, at least twice a week, sometimes more than twice a week. I game on Tuesday nights in our group. I game on Saturdays a lot. We're here on a Saturday recording this.
Don't you game Wednesdays too?
I game Wednesdays and I game Fridays usually.
So twice, but it's really 4 or 5 times.
Yes, and then if someone calls me up and says, "Hey, what are you doing tonight? Want to get together for a game?" I'm like, "Sure, I'm doing nothing. I'll show up." You know, if I'm busy and I have other things going on, I don't show up. But if I'm not busy, I find time for gaming because I love gaming. It's a great hobby. For those of you watching this, I just want to say it's a great hobby. It's a better hobby than a lot of the hobbies out there. And I'm just glad that, people could do something good with their time and in a nice social, fun atmosphere.
All right, well, here we go. 10 more games.
My number 80 is Haben Gut.
What?
Haben Gut.
I still don't know what you're saying.
Hab, H-A-B, and Gut, G-U-T.
This is a card game?
No, it's a stock market manipulation game. I don't know how to describe this. You've never played it, obviously.
I guess it never came out in English?
It never came out in English. It should. This is a game, for those of you publishers out there, this game needs to come out in English. Haben Gut, the way the game works is each person, there's trays between the people. So you have a tray next to you. There's a tray on both sides of us. There's trays on the sides of the other two players. And you can see stuff on the trays on both of your sides, but not on the other side. So you know something about the market, but you don't know everything about the market. And you are buying and selling shares of stock, and you sort of know what's going to go up and down. You also play cards to control. So I play a card to control something. I play a different card to control a different thing. So you can control the market, but you can't quite control the market because you don't know what the other half of the market is doing. You only know what your half of the market is doing. And I think it is a wonderful, wonderful game. The mechanics of it are great. The blind figuring out what's going on, figuring out what your opponents are doing is great as well. It really gives you the feel of, you're sort of buying and trading and know what's going on, but you also have no idea what's going on.
All right, well, I'll have to check this one out.
My number 79 is Revolution.
What, from Steve Jackson?
From Steve Jackson.
A Steve Jackson game's on your list?
Yes.
Wow.
I think it's the only one on my list. But
what? No Munchkin?
No Munchkin. Fine. Munchkin.
All right. Anyway, so Revolution. Wow, I'm really surprised that this one's on your list.
I really like Revolution. I really like. Okay, Revolution has a rock paper scissors aspect to it, where you're bidding on different things and you're trying to bid the most. But there's 3 different kinds of bidding. There's fists and envelopes and money. And fists.
Also known as force and blackmail. But...
Yeah. Okay. I don't know the technical terms because Tom read the rules. I don't read the rules. But basically, the red fists always beat the blackmails, and the blackmails always beat the money. But then the most of something beats everything else. And it's got that cool, blind rock, paper, scissors bidding aspect. And once you bid, then you're taking what you bid to put your pieces on the board to area control different areas of the board. It is a wonderful game, wonderful mechanics, and it's a winner. The expansion, the 2 expansions, they had a 5 and 6 player expansion, and then they had the Palaces expansion, or the Prisons, or whatever it was called. The one where you have that extra, where you put people in prison, and it's A great game, great game. I don't know what else to say about it other than...
Get the Anarchy expansion.
Yes, that's it. The Anarchy is the one, right? That's the one where you can put people in prison and everything.
Yes.
It is a wonderful, wonderful game, and it really takes rock, paper, scissors mechanic and turns it into something great. My number 78 is Yunnan. Did you play this one or not?
I have actually not played Yunnan because the negative reactions from Sam and Z and all of them, they hated it.
Well, then I think you need to give it a chance. Yeah. Yunnan is a great game.
I just like saying it. Yunnan. Oh,
sorry. It's obviously set in China, and you're tea traders. And what's cool about it is there's two different phases in the game. One phase is a bidding phase where you're overbidding people to get what you need, whether it's to move your donkey up further spaces so you could have your people advance with your donkey, or whether it's to get huts, or whether it's to get more people, or whatever you want to get. So you're bidding on a bunch of things. And after you bid, then you're moving your people on a board to explore further and bring your tea further into China. And it has really cool mechanics. It's a wonderfully balanced game. There's different methods you could do. You could do lots of people, or you could do moving your donkey really quickly, because as your donkey gets further and further along, the spaces are worth more points as you get the people up there. But you can't just move people up there because all your people need to chain along. So if you don't have a person in every space along the way, you're not filling a full tea route up to...
You're not selling me on this.
It's a Euro game, so it's going to be hard to sell you on it, but it's one of those games that you need to play. You need to try it. I think it's a wonderful game. I've played it. It only came out about 3 years ago, and I think I've already played it like 100 times. That's how good it is. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it is that good of a game, and hopefully we can get you to play it in one of our groups one day, so
maybe
you can give your own opinion on it. My number 77 is Hare and Tortoise.
Now there's a lot of Hare and Tortoise games.
Now, I'm not talking about the yellow kids game Hare and Tortoise. I'm talking about Hare and Tortoise, the race game.
The one that came out in 77.
The one that came out in about 77.
I think it was 79, actually. But
Yeah.
It's a pretty old game.
Yes. There was a Gibson version that came out years and years ago. There was a Rio Grande version. I don't know how many versions of it there's been.
Like 4 or 5 at least.
And each version has a different way you jug the hare. Now,
that's true.
Every version that comes out, they change the rules of how you jug the hare. And so jugging the hare, and the way the game works is, unlike normal race games, this race game, you have carrots and you need to burn your carrots by the end, so you can't just collect carrots and jump all the way across the board. But the way you spend your carrots is, if you move 1 space, it's 1 carrot. If you move 2 spaces, it's 4 carrots. So you're doing squares along the way of your numbers as you move your spaces. But you have a few things you have to do along the way. You have to eat lettuce because your hares get hungry, and you have to eat lettuce.
Cabbage.
Or cabbage, and you have to eat your cabbage, and you also have to make sure that you're down to, if you're in first place, less than 10 carrots. If you're in second, less than 20 carrots.
Well, that's not so hard. It's getting the carrots that's hard, because you have to move backwards to get the carrots.
Yes. So based on what place you're in, you're going to get different carrots. Also, when you jug the hare, you roll a die or 2 dice. I'm sorry, it's just a cool term, jugging the hare. I don't know why jugging is, but it was something that they said in Britain, obviously.
I just say land on the hare space, that's what I say.
Well, it's actually, in the rules, it's actually called jugging the hare, but I think that's because the guys in Britain, I don't know exactly what it means, but I just think it's funny when you call it that.
Apparently.
So you roll a die, or in some versions of the game, you roll 2 dice, and it will tell you what result happens based on what place you're in, your hare. And then you get to do something cool, like sometimes you get to eat a free cabbage without having to do anything, or sometimes you collect carrots, and there's all sorts of things. So you're moving forward, you're moving backward, you're moving forward, a bigger jump, you're moving backward, and it's really, 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 it's a more mathematical kind of race game, but I think it's a great, great, great race game.
All right. I agree, though. It's fantastic.
My number 76 is Hamburgum.
Ooh. Wow. Sometimes I feel like you and I are the only 2 people who like this game.
No, I love Matt Gerdts' games. I love the Rondell.
I don't love his games, and I don't love the Rondel, but I do love Hamburgum.
That's because you're building churches.
But that's not the only reason, right? Because this is probably the simplest Rondel version.
It is, well, I
You're
think...
just moving around getting resources and building churches.
I think Antique is probably the simplest one, but it's the second simplest one of his Rondel games. I love the Rondel mechanic in general. What Matt Gerdts does is he does this mechanic where you have there's this rondel, as they call it. It's a circle with a bunch of spaces, and each space has a different kind of action. But you only can move 1 to 3 spaces. If you move more than that, you're going to have to pay something to move more than that. So you could decide to move 5 spaces along the circle, but if you do, you're going to be giving up things to do it. And that mechanic where you have to kind of do things in order around the circle, some actions only happen once on the circle, some actions happen multiple times on the circle, is really, really, really cool. Unique, as I've been using a lot. And in this one, you're building up churches, you're collecting bricks, you're collecting church bells, and you're building churches in the city of Hamburg. Hence why it's called Hamburgum, which I guess is German.
Although you don't have to play in Hamburg, you can flip the board and play in a different city. And there's boards with other cities too.
There's many boards. I have the expansion board with Antwerp and London, and there's a whole bunch of different boards, and it's really wonderful. If you have ever played any kind of Rondel game, Matt Gerdts is the master of Rondel games, and Hamburgum is one of his best.
Is his best.
So we're at 75.
Woohoo! 1/4 done with the list.
1/4 done, and not only is Tom happy about that, but he's going to be happy about this next one, because my number 75 is Nothing Personal.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What?
Yes, it is.
I was just kidding.
No, well, I'm not kidding. I always liked Kremlin, which is where Nothing Personal got its ideas from.
Is Kremlin in the top 100 maybe?
No, it's not.
Yeah, beat Kremlin!
Well, Kremlin was... We've talked about games and modernizing games. Kremlin was kind of old school, took a long time to play. You had to write things on a piece of paper about your bidding, and then you'd reveal your bidding. Nothing Personal makes the game much more streamlined than Euro, and adds... Now you can see how much bids on it because all the bids are right there on the cards, but it has that same pyramid action of you want to get your guy to the top of the pyramid. Instead of being the leader of the Politburo, now you're the capo of a mafia. And this is a great game. The streamlining that was done and making it more Euro with the card play and obviously the tokens being out and everyone seeing what's going on, I think turned the game into an even better game than what Kremlin was, which is why Nothing Personal is in my top 100.
Good job, Stephen Avery.
Yes, I give all credit to Stephen Avery on the design. This guy just went along for the ride, I think. But in all seriousness, if you guys like games where you're kind of controlling some characters and trying to get your characters more powerful, Nothing Personal is a great, great game. My number 74 is...
Fishes.
No. Sorry, folks, there's no more Tom Vassal games in my list. Fishes did not make my top 100.
Doesn't make my top 2,000. But anyway, go ahead.
Is 1960, The Making of a President.
Ooh, wow. I would think that you would think this is too light compared to the others.
Well,
Which means the others are higher. I know it.
there might be other card-driven games higher on my list. I really like 1960. It is a light one. It's light like the way Twilight Struggle is light. It might be even lighter than Twilight Struggle.
It's way lighter than Twilight Struggle.
But it really captures the feel of the Nixon-Kennedy election. Instead of moving point to point and controlling territories, you're going for influence in different states to try to get the populist vote. I really like the way it simulates an election. It might be the best election game on the market, and it is wonderful. A lot of people, we talk about the companion game to it, Campaign Manager 2008.
Garbage.
Which was Obama and McCain, and instead of doing the whole map, you're just doing the toss-up states, because that was a toss-up state election. I actually like Campaign Manager as well. It didn't make my top 100, but I like that one as well.
It's not as good.
It's not as good. I'm not saying it's as good, but I think it's also a fine game of the same variety. I obviously like 1960 a lot more. I love the whole Kennedy-Nixon. Either side works well, and I've seen both sides win the game. I don't think that either side is unbalanced, and I think it's just a wonderful card-driven game about elections.
All right.
My number 73 is Circus Maximus.
Of course, you love this game. Don't you run this one at WBC?
No, I don't run it.
You play in it.
I play in it. I'm infamous for pulling back my horse for getting 6th place in it, I guess.
Oh, that wasn't what I didn't even bring that up.
We can. It's okay. I really like this game. It's an old Avalon Hill game, so yes, if you buy the original version, it's got chits. It's got cardboard chits as the horses and everything that you move around. But if you have the deluxe version that I have, Jake Jacoby makes one a year and sells it at the WBC auction. I actually bought one of them. It's got true horse minis. It's got a bigger board. It's got, pillars. It's got pillars and everything. You're never going to be able to
get this, apparently.
There's only, I think, 12 copies in existence because he does one every year at the WBC auction. So if you're there, it is a worthy item to pick up. I think when I bought it, it was I think I paid $275 for it in the auction that year.
But this is the kind of game that I think you should play if you're at a convention. It's a good one to get into a convention. How many players does it go up to?
Well, it's supposed to hold, theoretically, it holds 10 players, but...
You played in games with more than 10.
I've played in games with 16 or 20 players. There's a Demolition Derby version. I think the most we had was 24 one year, and there were 24 horses and chariots running around. It really feels like Ben-Hur. You move, you smash your chariots into other chariots, you try to whip drivers and pull them out of their chariot, you try to run your tires into their horses to chop their horses down, and then they have to cut their horses free to keep going, and it simulates one of those big Ben-Hur kind of chariot races very well. It's an amazing game. There's a lot of combat. You'd like it. There's a lot of combat in it, and it is just pure fun. My number 72 is a newer game. In fact, I think it's the newest game on the whole list, and I think over time this game will go up on the list. It's Codenames.
You just added that in the last week or two.
I added it recently, yes. Not in the last week or two, because we've been playing Codenames since Origins back in the beginning of June. So
you really like Codenames.
I really like Codenames. When I say I really like Codenames, I really like Codenames. Unlike most party games, and I like a lot of party games, but Codenames is, to me, it's my favorite party game. There's a lot of party games that I like. I like Two Rooms and a Boom, and I like Spyfall, and I like Fake Artist Goes to New York. I like Telestrations. I like Resistance. There's a lot of party games I like, but none of them made my list because party games aren't my... I guess, they're too fluff for me most of the time. But the reason why I like Codenames so much, and it did make my list, is because Codenames has a game to it. It's not just catchphrase. It's not just password. But it has a whole battleship aspect to it. Yeah. And I keep saying it's passwords meets battleship because there's an actual game to it where you have to give clues, and you want to give clues only to your words, but there's opponents' words on the board. So if I give a clue that matches one of my opponent's words, then that's bad because it's like, oh, I sunk their battleship instead of sinking my battleship. And you really have to think a lot in this one. It really makes you think. It's a blast to play. It's fun. I've played it now well over 100 times. I had my copy running around WBC playing it with everyone in the world that I could play with, and Codenames is just a wonderful game.
Okay.
I mean, if I had to sum it up, it would be Codenames 2, thumbs up. My number 71, here's where I get the first grumpy face of the day, I think, is Aliens.
No, I just haven't played it.
I love this game. Dungeon crawls are not my favorite style game.
Which is a bad year for you then, because like 6 came out this year.
Yes, I know. Well, that's because you have a lot of influence in the industry and you like dungeon crawls.
It's not why.
Yes, you
I
like
think people like dungeon crawls.
They're not my favorite genre. In fact, I think I only have like maybe 1 or 2 more on the whole list.
I know one of them.
He knows one of them for sure. But Aliens is a wonderful, wonderful dungeon crawl. It really gives you the feel that aliens are coming at you in every direction, and you really need to, you need to kill these aliens. They're coming at you. If they get too close to you and you shoot them, acid splashes on you. It really feels like the movie, and they actually have a whole campaign mode in it where you can do the whole movie from beginning to end, through the reactor room, through the egg room, and then at the end, Ripley gets into her yellow thing, and you can fight the queen, and it really has every part of the movie. I usually just play the reactor room scenario because it's the simplest one. It's a lot of fun. It's short, plays about half an hour. You have all your weapons. You have flamethrowers. You have like cannons, like machine gun cannons, and it really, really, really gives you the feel that you are in the movie. And Aliens is a great movie. This is probably the best movie, the best game based on that movie, and it's just wonderful.
All right, well, there you go. 10 more games from Jason. They only get better. That's what I hear.
Yes, they get better and better.
Join us next week for another video and find out more from the machine, Jason Levine.